About 60 Northwestern students and visitors listened to Ellen Gustafson talk about why the current food system must change if we are to stop both hunger and obesity. Her keynote kicked off the 7th Annual Summit on Sustainability at Northwestern University.
And then there's all these negative externalities in our water supply and our air supply and the antibiotics that we're able to use to cure ourselves. But somehow we don't let those get factored into the price of our food. And then we pay for them on the back end. You know, it's always said that you can either pay for your food on the front end or pay for your doctor bill on the back end. And we haven't thought through these yet. It's the same with our environment. We can think through better food systems on the front end, or we can deal with the environmental problems that come from our food system on the back end. The changes in the last 30 years are so dramatic, and I think these numbers really, really signify that. That jump in fast food spending is so huge. We can't pretend that we haven't changed the way we've eaten, and that's why we look the way we look as a culture. And like I said, it's, you know, you go into Kampala and you're flying out of Kampala to go back to JFK Airport. Really, the choices are so similar. You can get French fries, you can get a hamburger, you can get white bread, and you can certainly get soda. But can you get the food that we're supposed to be eating to be healthy? These numbers, I think, are so indicative of the fact that these problems are not segregated. They're even sometimes in the same house. And that we haven't looked at them yet until very recently as exactly the same issue. They're killing us. Both hunger and obesity are going to take us to our death one way or the other. And so we have to look at them as again, how do we fix this food system issue that underlies it? Part of the problem comes down to dollars, as it always does. But if we look at how silly it is what we're spending, we have one pot of money over here that's going to provide subsidies to grow more stuff that's going to make us obese. And then we have this other pot of money over here that's going to go to pay the healthcare bills of the obesity that comes from the subsidized commodity crops that we're all eating. And we haven't sat down and said, whoa, wait. Maybe if we really restructure this food system here, we could kind of have savings on both sides. If you think about what hunger does to communities, and as a culture, we have not made a full commitment to end hunger, to make sure people can grow their own food to survive. The GDP loss is unbelievable. There was an amazing study that showed 2 brains of Chilean children, one before a massive government intervention program to end hunger and one after. The diameter of the children's brains at the same age grew by 4 centimeters. That is real gray matter used to think through the problems of the world that we are missing out on all around the developing world. But really coming down to it again, hunger and obesity are the exact same problem. They're both about a lack of access to nutritious foods. We can't look at them anymore like they're 2 different things. Like some people who are hungry just happen to be lazy. Well, actually, we say that about the obese people too. And then, oh, well, these hungry people just don't have a choice. And well, the obese people do. And no, they're both the same issue. It's really hard to find nutritious foods everywhere in the world, unless you're in an awesome town like Evanston and can walk down Main Street. The system that we've created to fight these problems has ended up being this web of intricacies that doesn't help either of us. In the last 30 years, we've mostly been using commodity crops to fight hunger, whether it's canned food drives, whether it's sending food aid around the world, or giving excess from supermarkets to people who are hungry. And we've also had those same commodity foods lead us to this massive obesity epidemic. The reality is the solution is the same. We need to find a way to get higher quality, better food, fruits and vegetables to people at prices that they can afford. We need to change the underlying system. And so the 30 Project is essentially the idea of us saying, in 30 years, we don't want to have these same problems. Look, we've seen what's happened since 1980. Thanks a lot for playing. We're really glad you've been in charge so far. It's time for us to take over because it hasn't worked. And it's time for a whole new system. I believe that the leadership that we can develop at a very young age actually has the potential to moving us into a whole different framework for not only our food system, but all of the various web of things that the food system affects. We need to think about new metrics. We need to think about the fundamentals of capitalism. If it's really a free market, but we're not giving people real choices, how can we call it a free market? We need to think about what nutritional yield is. A lot of companies want to tell us that we need to improve yield. You will hear that ad nauseum from companies who want new markets for their commodities crops. But we don't need more yield. We need nutritional yield. We need the good food that's going to make people healthy around the world. We don't just need empty calories. We have almost 50% food waste in our country, and about 30 to 40% around the world. And that is at every single point along the supply chain. That is in your house, that is in your restaurant, that is at the grocery store, that is on the farm, that is in seeds, that is every single length of the supply chain there's waste. And that is waste that could definitely feed the world.